Very good morning, student. I hope you all are very fine and taking care of yourself. Okay. Now today I am going to start the desert chapter number 3, as we have summarized this chapter in month of May, and today I am going to teach you word to word. Okay. Now see the desert chapter number 3 from your supplementary reader. A desert is generally without water and vegetation. A green patch with fresh water and green trees in the middle. Of vast desert is beautiful sight. A green patch with fresh water and green trees in the middle of vast desert is beautiful sight. A desert may be too hot or too cold. These are some basic features of desert, as you also have learnt in your SS textbook. Okay, now see what the chapter is on desert. So let us start. Those of us who live in regions covered with forests and surrounded by hills may find it difficult to imagine what a desert is really like. The popular belief is that it is an endless stretch of sand where no rain falls and therefore no vegetation grows. Okay, those of us will live in regions covered with forest and surrounded by hills may find it difficult to imagine what a desert is really like. We are living in this place. These places are surrounded either by the vegetation, forest or hills, but we can't imagine how deserts are really like. Okay, because so far of us no deserts are there. The popular belief is that it is an endless stretch of sand where no rain falls and there no vegetation grows. Desert, it means it is dry, hot, waterless and without shelter. Okay, normally we have seen these characteristics of desert. It is dry, hot, waterless and without shelter. But this is not entirely correct. For those who have studied it, the desert can be a beautiful place. But as per the speaker or as per the writer, this is not the whole truth. What? Desert is hot, desert is dry, waterless and without shelter. This is not a whole truth. Then what is the whole truth? But this is not entirely correct. For those who have studied it, who have studied the desert deeply, the desert can be a beautiful place. It is the home of variety of people, animals and plants that have learned to live under very hot and dry conditions. Are you getting my point here? It is the home of variety of people, animals and plants that have learned to live under the very hot and dry conditions. Now these peoples, they are living in desert, they are very habitual with this type of conditions. Okay, now next paragraph. True, the ground is not always hidden by a cover of grass, plants and trees, as nowadays rainy season is going on here. But still in desert area greenery is not there. But here in our area, in this western zone, everything is everywhere, greenery is there. Okay, so this is the big drawback of the desert. The green plants and trees and grass not always covered the ground as it is other climates. जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे क्लाइमेट है वैसा क्लाइमेट डेजर्ट में नहीं है आज भी, if we are talking about today's condition. Okay, but whenever it rains, which is rare in, now see, for how many days it is still raining in Gujarat or for example Kutch, too much rain is there nowadays. But in desert, in Rajasthan, area, rain is very rare. Are you getting here? Rain is very rare, very less rain is there. Desert flowers bloom, and the sight can be as rewarding as that of any tropical garden. A desert is always a flat, unchanging wasteland of dry sand. It may have mountains and hills. It may have an oasis, big or small. An oasis is like a green island in the middle of the desert where a spring or a well gives plants and trees better chance to grow. An oasis is an island, meanwhile, middle of the desert where the spring or well gives. In short, if you search on a Google, you will get the full meaning of oasis. What is oasis? A small amount of water that spring or well that help to grow the plant there side by. A desert may be hot like Thar or cold like Ladakh. But generally speaking, if a place has little or no water and vegetation, people usually call it a desert. Okay, Thar desert, one of the hottest desert in the world, and Ladakh desert is cold desert. These two examples of desert in front of your eyes. But generally speaking, a desert is a place where no water and vegetation, and people usually call it a desert. Some deserts are almost totally without water. In such places, strong winds blow, raising heaps of sand and depositing them as mounds. Some deserts are really totally without water. In such places, strong winds blow, raising heaps of sand. Whenever strong winds blow, they raise heaps of sand with them and depositing them as mounds and depositing them as desert hills, mounds. They are called sand dunes that shifted to move endlessly across the desert, and these sand dunes are really endless across the desert. Few plants can survive on such dry, shifting sands. There are very few plants they can survive on such a dry and shifting sands. Okay, now see. Again I am going to start this paragraph. All living things need water in order to survive. A few plants and animals that live in desert have developed the ability to require less water than most plants and animals. Desert animals require very less water. The camel, popularly known as sheep of the desert, can drink a lot of water at one time. Camels can do without water for days together. For so many days, camels can live without water. The reason is the sweat very little, because they sweat. Sweat here it means pasina. They sweat very little, so they didn't need too much water. We sweat because we must keep our body temperature constant. Whenever you also see, we people sweat too much. Some people sweating too much, and they also drink plenty of water. Because, and we need water because we sweat. It is because we need to maintain our body temperature, so we drink a plenty of water. We sweat when it's when it gets hot, and this cools the body. Camels can stand high body temperature. They don't need to sweat and can therefore retain the water they drink for long periods of time. Okay, camels can then sing high body temperature and they don't need to sweat and can therefore retain the water they drink for a long period of time. Okay, now we are going to stop here. In next video I will also explain you these last 4 lines. So take care of you.